How we doing this afternoon? Okay, plan B. The chirpy belt is still annoying, and I'm going to see what else I can do with it. I went ahead and got a new idler pulley. I was reasonably certain that the pulley that was in there had been a replacement, but it's got a rust patch on part of it. So I don't know if that's contributing or if that's just an indicator that maybe this is an old pulley. But at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and clean all the pulleys off with some brake cleaner, make sure that there's no residue of any kind on the pulleys whatsoever. I'll stick my quote-unquote new belt, or at least the one that I bought that was new, that was chirping, back on rather than the old belt. We'll see what that does, if anything. If it continues to chirp, I may go ahead and try a different brand of belt. Some of these Continental is one of the better ones that's been recommended. Also, the Goodyear Gatorback with the serrated ribs. Either one of those will probably, or might make a difference. I don't know. We'll find out. If this doesn't work, then we'll start testing with those. All right, I will say that the new tensioner has got a lot of pull on it, so I don't think it's a lack of tension on the belt itself that's causing it to squeak. However, you can see the rust and pitting here on the idler pulley. I just took this loose, so it's not wobbling around because it's a bad bearing. I literally just started to go ahead and loosen it up. However, we'll go ahead and clean that up. Actually, I'm going to replace that one. Again, I don't know if that was an older one that I'd put on or if I'd actually bought a replacement for it, but I do have a replacement for it now. So we'll swap that and see where we end up. Okay, with this one off, I can feel just a little bit, ever such a slight bit of slack in the sealed bearing. When I spin it, and I can't do this, I don't have a third hand. It doesn't feel like it's grease packed. It feels just a little bit loose. So that very well might be my issue. I said it's not 100% smooth. I mean, I can feel just a couple little bumps in it. Nothing that would worry me, but since we're getting this obnoxious chirping going on, I'm willing to bet this is probably the next step in the process. Like I said, you can see all the marks on this. This is definitely an older pulley. It was not a new one like I thought it was. So we'll take care of that issue. There's the new pulley on. And of course, it spins nice and smooth too. But like I said, the other one had just kind of like just a slight indication of tight spots in it. This one doesn't. This one, for whatever reason, is a little bit wider across. It's the same diameter. It was an alternate part number because they didn't have the other one in stock. Obviously, it doesn't go ahead and hit any of the bracketry. It's fine there, so the width isn't going to be an issue. But I'm going to go ahead and clean off the rest of these with some brake cleaner. Once that's all good and dry, I'll go ahead and hit it with the new belt, or the newer belt of the bunch, and we'll see what happens. Okay, well, safety third. While I was cleaning off the pulleys, of course, I went ahead and managed to go ahead and get some brake clean backsplash in my face. So while the pulleys were drying off, I went ahead and rinsed my eyes out, rinsed my face off. Fortunately, it didn't get me too bad, but you know, I know better. Still did it though. Anyway, let's see what things look like now. The pulleys have all been blasted off. They're as clean as they're going to get. I went ahead and hosed them down liberally with brake clean. Should be fine. They're good and dry now. Now that they are dry, I'll go ahead and I'll put that belt on, and we'll see where things end up. Pretty confident. Of course, I was confident yesterday too, and we saw how that worked out. Anyway, I'm reasonably confident that this will fix the problem. Alrighty, so there we are. The newer of the two belts is back on. Everything's nice and lined up. I will say that the tensioner seems like it's good and taut. So let's see what it does. Have the moment of truth here kicking up in just a second. Okay, moment of truth. Either it's gonna go ahead and squeal like a stuck hog, or we're done and it's fixed right for a change. And yet, you still squeak, you sorry bastard. What is your major malfunction, numbnuts? Why do you want to do this to me? I'm gonna have to go ahead and get out the redneck stethoscope and see if I can figure it out. It almost sounds like it's coming from the air conditioning compressor clutch of all things. Which, I mean, yeah, I guess that could be it. I don't know the age of that air conditioning compressor, but that could be entirely possible. And I think I've got another one floating around, so before this motor gets hot, I'm going to swap that out real quick. I'll just pull the whole compressor off and swap it. Alrighty, not exactly the most practical form of troubleshooting, but since I got spare parts laying around, it can't hurt. It took me all of about 5 minutes to go ahead and swap out this AC compressor. The other one, like I said, it seemed fine, but heck, you never know. This one I had sitting on a shelf, it's junk too, but you know, we'll see what it does, see if it makes a difference. Alrighty folks, disappointment in 3, 2, 1. Okay, there's this slight little chirp going on right now, so I guess it's better than it was. I don't know, maybe with the belt warming up, it might go away altogether, or I'm just going to go ahead and buy a different belt and see how that works out. Yeah, it's starting to go ahead and come back in now that it's warming up, so be it. This was an AutoZone belt, and from what I've seen, others commenting on issues they had, the Duralast belts were squeaking, couldn't use it. The guys that were running Continental seemed pretty happy with it. One of the guys running the Goodyear Razorback or Gatorback was pretty happy with it. And apparently this is like a Magnum motor thing. Some of them prefer one brand of belt over another. Anyway, I'm done throwing parts at this until I go ahead and swap the belt out. Alrighty, well, full disclosure before y'all go ahead and give me a ration of crap over the throwing parts at Ethyl to go ahead and fix her. The tensioner I bought the other day, that thing was questionable from day one. As a matter of fact, it should have been changed out day one. I just went ahead and used it because I had it, and I should have gone ahead and got rid of it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but whatever. So that was a part that needed to be done. The idler pulley that I picked up today set me back. Well, the idler pulley and the can of brake cleaner set me back all of $5 and some change. I had a credit at AutoZone, so I went ahead and took advantage of it. So I've got a little over $5 in this side of it. The belt that I threw on, the old belt I threw on there was one that came off of the Ugly Truckling. The belt was just sitting around. I figured, well, that didn't cost me anything. I'll try it out. A few minutes of my time. Same with the air conditioning compressor. It's a junk compressor off of the original motor that came out of the donor truck. It was no good, but I went ahead and I saved the accessories, including that compressor. It's junk. It's no good. I'm not going to go ahead and use it. It's been sitting open for years before I ever got the truck, the donor truck. That was 2014. So I wasn't planning on using it. I figured when I do put air conditioning in Ethyl, it will all be new components, so I'm not gonna have any issues with this. Yeah, it's a little frustrating, but she runs, she drives, she does what she's supposed to do. I'll get the belt chirp sorted out eventually, but for now, yeah, live with it. It's Ethyl squealing. So, y'all have a good night. All right, one more note in closing for today. I can pretty well guarantee the issue is with the belt. Looking back when I first got the motor running and it was chirping and really obnoxious, I mean more so than it is now, I had put baby powder on the belt and all of a sudden the chirping went away. So, you know, poor man's belt dressing or problem solver or whatever, it fixed the problem that day and for a couple days thereafter. And then after that, of course, you know, moisture, Oklahoma air, all that. Eventually, the baby powder stopped working and it started chirping again. So I think at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll try a different brand of belt. Like I said, other people have had similar issues and they've had to swap just different brands. Some had issues with, I don't think Dayco was one of them, but I know they mentioned the AutoZone belts, the Duralast. I think Gates was another one they were having issues with, but Continental was one that was highly recommended, as was the Goodyear belt. I'm not going to get in that whole discussion about that silliness, but I'll go ahead and I'll try the Continental belt, and we'll see where we end up. Like I said, it's not going to hurt. If nothing else, I have a spare belt around, and I'm reluctant to put belt dressing on. To me, that's a Band-Aid. I know back in the day with the V belts, I used to use that stuff. The old Power Wagon had the Chrysler AC compressor that ran tandem belts on the clutch, and that was about the only way you could go ahead and get that thing to stop squealing with the belt dressing. And I don't think belt dressing is an appropriate answer for a serpentine belt. If everything's right on a serpentine belt system, it shouldn't squeak, it shouldn't chirp, it shouldn't do anything. It should just go ahead and spin the accessories like they're supposed to do. Ethyl doesn't have a clutch fan on the water pump, so that's less drag. You know, that pulley, all it's doing is turn the water pump itself. It's not turning anything else. So I don't have any issues there. I'm certain that the issue is the belt itself. It's probably the rubber compound or something along those lines. The design of the ribs, heck, I don't know. I'm not a technician, I'm not an engineer, I'm just a guy that goes ahead and sorts this stuff out and figures out what works for him. So, y'all have a good night. I'll get this sorted out, and I'm probably gonna be placing an Amazon order here pretty quick. So, y'all take care.